Good morning, everyone. Today, my grandma and I are going to compare two pairs of currency, which are GBP AUD and AUD USD. The movement of the exchange rate of the Great Britain pound and Australian dollar is subjected to the dynamic occurring in the economy of both the countries. The trend in the same is also expected to have implications on the movement of the same in the future. The change in the GBP AUD exchange rate over the years can be seen in the figure 1. From the figure 1, the GBP AUD started increasing considerably from 2014, reaching its peak in the first half of 2016, post which the same started decreasing. Very occasional fluctuations, the rate came down to nearly 1.66 in the 2017. The same, however, started increasing considerably, reaching 1.83 by the first 2 months of 2018. This in turn indicates toward an appreciation of the value of GBP compared to AUD.
The first indicator behind the current volume of GBP AUD is the interest rate. The increase in the volume of GBP compared to AUD can be attributed to the low volume of AUD, which again can be attributed to the low cash rate, which has been kept by the Central Bank of Australia at 1.5%, thereby facilitating increase in the supply of money in the economy, which in turn has led to its devaluation. On the other hand, the government of UK has started resorting to tight monetary policies, thereby increasing their rate of interest from 0.25 to 0.5. This in turn has also led to an increase in the valuation of the GBP, which makes it comparatively costlier in terms of AUD. That can be seen from the following features. Another indicator is the inflation rate prevailing in this country. As is still evident from the above figure, the rate of inflation of UK, which used to be low, below 1% in 2015, started increasing post-2016 and reached to almost 3%, in thereby explaining the appreciation in the volume of GBP. According to Reserve Bank of Australia, on the other hand, has been experiencing a low inflation rate of 1.8% compared to the past couple of years, 1.9 to 2.1%, but expected to increase in the coming 6 months to some extent.
The import price and its effect on the overall economy of a country also lead to change in the exchange rate of the currency of those countries. Keeping this into consideration, the dynamic of the import price in UK versus Australia can be seen as figure 5. As is evident from the figure 5, over the year, the import price of UK have been increasing significantly, which has forced the government of the country to increase the domestic currency valuation. The import price of Australia, which have been low in 2013 till 2014, increased substantially over the last few years. In the December of 2017, Australia export experienced an increase by 2.8% quarter-on-quarter, following a contraction of 2% in the previous quarter. In the December of 2017, UK export experienced an increase from 113 index point to 114.20 index point. As we can see from the figure 6, the commodity price went up while the value of the export in Australia and UK. According to the theory of commodity price, this will make an increase of the currency in both countries. However, we estimate export price in Australia will stand at 87.91 index point in the next few months or even higher. For the export price in UK, we estimate the export price in UK will stand at 117 index point in the next few months or it will getting higher in the long term.
Given the current scenario in the economy of Australia, we show an increase in the rate of inflation and import price in the current period as well as the coming months, will induce the government to take stricter monetary policy in the next few months. This may include increase in the cash rate from the existing rate. This in turn is expected to increase the valuation of the domestic currency in the next 6 months, which expected to decrease the GBP AUD to almost 8% in the next few months of 2018. Thus, from the figure, it can be concluded that in the coming years, the volume of AUD is expected to appreciate, which will decrease GBP AUD.
The second pair that we analysed for this assignment was the Australian and US dollar, which the exchange rate on the 12th of April was 0.7753. The Australian and the US dollar is the fifth most traded currency in the world. During the April 2018 meeting of the Reserve Bank of Australia, the interest rate was left unchanged again at the record low of 1.5. In United States, the federal rate was raised to between 1.5 to 1.75 during the meeting of March 2018. The average interest rate for Australia between 1990 to 2018 was 4.58%, whereas in the United States from 1971 until 2018 it has been 5.7%. According to Investopedia.com, higher interest rates increase the value of a country's currency. This is due to a high number of foreign investments because of the higher interest rates, increasing the demand and value for the home country's currency. Equally, lower interest rates are inclined to be unappealing for foreign investments, hence decreasing the currency's value. The reason for depreciation in Australian dollar against the US dollar is the result of weak commodity prices, as they are certainly a negative for the exports. A country's balance of trade between imports and exports can be a vital aspect in influencing the exchange rate. This is due to a higher demand for a country's products results in a greater demand for the country's currency as well. This in turn will increase demand for the currency of that country as foreign investors look to obtain local currency in order to purchase local assets. This results to a stronger exchange rate according to the Commonwealth Bank Australia. When we're discussing different factors that can influence the exchange rate of a currency, which is either the government or the central bank, official interventions into foreign exchange markets can employ a significant influence on the value of that country's currency. In Australia, official intervention is through the Reserve Bank of Australia, buying and selling the Australian dollar in trade with banks and a select number of non-bank authorised FX dealers. The Reserve Bank of Australia uses the cash rate to maintain price stability in Australia, as well as managing growth of the economy, as changes in the cash rate affect the likelihood of individuals attaining funds, as higher interest rates make it more expensive to borrow money, which leads to a lower demand for goods and services. From the graph provided on the screen, it can be analysed that the Federal Bank of Australia has not changed the cash rate in the last few meetings, so it has been constant at 1.5%. Due to the Australian dollar being small in comparison to the United States dollar at present, a percentage of the demand for goods and services from the United States would switch over to the relatively cheap Australian goods and services. This means that there would be an increased demand for Australian products, which in turn will increase the demand for the Australian dollar, which is shown as the new demand curve on the graph provided. When talking about the exchange rate expectation, the Australian and US dollar pair is currently sitting at 0.77. But when analysing the exchange rate forecast by the National Bank of Australia, it can be seen that Australian and the US dollar is expected to appreciate up to 0.78 in the month of June 2018. From June onwards, the Australian and US dollar pair is anticipated to gradually start depreciating back to 0.77 in September 2018 and then 0.75 in December 2018. However, the Commonwealth Bank anticipates that the Australian dollar will rise up to 0.83 against the US dollar before the year ends, which is an 8% increase from the current exchange rate. In the article, Elias Haddad states that yield curve differentials already point to stronger Australian economic growth prospects relative to the US.
In the conclusion, the Commonwealth Bank anticipates that the Australian dollar will rise up to 0.83 against the US dollar before the year end, which is an 8% increase from the current exchange rate. In the coming years, the value of AUD is expected to appreciate, which in turn to decrease GBP AUD by almost 8%. This is a reference. Thank you for listening.